Look at my chicken cup. Hello and welcome to my channel. Reporting from the floor in front of my couch instead of on my actual couch that I spent money on. This is middle part Leanna, not to be confused with side part Leanna, because I am hotter than her, but don't tell her that because she'll get mad. So 1 month ago I turned 25, and you know what? I think I handled it pretty well. I did not really have an existential crisis about it or anything. 25 is kind of a milestone year, more so than 24, at least. I can rent a car now without being charged a fee for being under 25. I can now enjoy cannabis without worrying about my prefrontal cortex as much. I can now expect at any day second puberty to happen, which is supposed to give me bigger hips. Fingers crossed, because puberty really missed that whole region of my body the first time around. In less than 1 year, I will officially be too old to date Leonardo DiCaprio. And also that same year, I will be kicked off my father's health insurance. But yeah, now I am officially mid-20s, and that is scary. We all did lose 3 years in the pandemic, didn't we? So inside, I am 22. But regardless of how I feel, I have lived on this earth for 25 years now. 25 official years, and that makes me a very wise old sage. And today I am going to impart upon you some very important life advice. Life advice that I have collected and applied in my own life that has helped me greatly. Obviously, I'm very qualified. I'm ancient. So a lot of these are going to be about other people and interactions with other people. And I feel like right now it's just very, very applicable, just because early 20s to like mid 20s, you're just so worried about what other people think. At least I am. At least that's a common experience from what I've heard from other people. So far, from what I've gathered in the past 5 years of my life, your 20s are kind of about finding out where you stand in the world, finding out more about yourself, learning things that you didn't really know about yourself, recognizing that everything you do is a trauma response and everything is childhood trauma. So yeah, a lot of this is going to be about interactions with other people, primarily because it's pretty much what I needed to hear at age 20. Okay, so number one, everyone is projecting. Everyone. Whether it's sexism, racism, or any other ism, or just being judged by somebody, it's not about you. It's about them and who they are as a person and how they see the world. I learned the following in therapy, and it kind of blew my mind and changed my perspective about everything. But it's when people make judgments and pass judgments on another person, it's about what they don't allow themselves to do. So let me explain. Two women are at the beach. Woman A is wearing modest clothing. Woman B is wearing a bikini. Woman A judges woman B for wearing a bikini. Oh my god, that's so slutty. I could never do that. Why is she showing so much skin? That is so tasteless. The reason that woman A is judging woman B in the first place, the only reason that woman A even cares, is because she feels like she's not allowed to wear a bikini. Woman A governs herself in this way. She has a set of standards, rules, morals, values, whatever, imposed on her by society, by her family, by whatever environment that she's in. And she has convinced herself that she's not allowed to wear a bikini. When woman A sees woman B in a bikini, carefree, without a care in the world, without a care about what other people think, woman A has to question her own reality. She's like, okay, well, are these rules that I've imposed on myself, are they even necessary? Have they been necessary? If another woman is just carelessly breaking these rules that I have set for myself that she doesn't have to set on herself. Woman A doesn't like being disoriented. She does not like having to question her own reality. So she judges woman B. And this is all happening subconsciously. On the outside, she's probably just like, oh yeah, because like women need to have standards and like morals, and like wearing a bikini on the beach is like not moral and it's slutty, blah 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 blah. But on the inside, there is just a woman who does not want to be governed. I mean, woman A doesn't even know woman B. She doesn't even care about woman B. So why else would she make judgments unless it was all about herself? I am so sorry that the light keeps changing. It is driving me crazy. This is not high quality video production, but I am getting used to it. I am getting used to being back on YouTube, and I'm trying my best. I am trying my best. Please bear with me. Okay, number two is that most people's opinions don't matter. If somebody says, you can't do that, that's because they haven't done it. People are gonna give you their unsolicited opinions for your entire life. That's one thing that I'm sure of, okay? Being 25 and a woman, people are always giving me their damn opinions and I never asked for them. And the thing is, not all of them are going to matter. Before you take heed of another person's opinion, first look at their life, look at what they're doing, and then decide if that's aspirational. And if it's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This mainly applies to people who have opinions on, you know, your career aspirations. Because if somebody is working in a job that they fucking hate and then you tell them, hey, I want to be an actor, and they go like, haha, that's realistic, their opinion doesn't fucking matter. This in particular was kind of hard for me to come to terms with, just because one of the people that shared their unsolicited opinion with me was my own dad. So my dad came from Vietnam when he was like 18, and he only had like $20 in his pocket, and he worked his way up, busted his ass, and now he's a very successful engineer. He works a stable job, he makes 6 figures, he owns his house. What about that is not aspirational? 3 years ago, I told him I wanted to be an actor, and he was not supportive. And he told me that he wanted me to come back home and get an engineering job and work a 9 to 5 and do exactly what he did, basically. And I can see that he's very, very tired and not happy with his job. And if he didn't have to work, he wouldn't. And I've decided that that's not aspirational for me, at least not career-wise. I need to find fulfillment in my work, whether or not it is in the acting industry. And so even though it sucks that I did not get his support for this career aspiration, I've decided that his opinion on the matter does not matter. But that doesn't mean that all his opinions on other things don't matter. It's just this particular opinion doesn't matter, and it can't matter, because I need to make myself happy. Leanna comes first in Leanna's life. I used to also have some friends who would always be negative Nancy's and tell me that I couldn't do something. When I first started this YouTube channel, I told a particular person that I wanted to buy a $500 camera, and they said, no, you shouldn't do that, just immediately. It really sucks to share an intimate detail about your life with somebody that you care about, only to have it shut down immediately. And it actually makes me think of this Chinese fable, this story, about the horse trying to cross a river. Once upon a time, there was a little horse and he wanted to cross the river. He didn't know how deep it was, so he decided to ask around. The squirrel said it was very, very deep and very dangerous. But the cow said that it was very, very shallow and should be totally fine. I'm probably leaving out like 1,000 details, but the point is, at the end of the story, the little horse decides to cross the river, and he discovers that it's not as deep as the squirrel said, but at the same time, it wasn't as shallow as the cow said. And the moral of the story is that you gotta do your own things. Don't listen to other people. Okay, number 3 is that if somebody has the time and the energy to judge you, that means they are miserable. At the very least, they are not doing better than you. Happy people, successful people, they do not have time to worry about what other people are doing. It's only the miserable and unhappy people that have so much time on their hands that they're just looking at other people to bring down to their level. So next time someone's mean to you, just know that they're miserable, and it's actually kind of sad. Number 4 is probably one of the most important ones on this list, but it's that everyone is just a person. Don't be afraid of talking to anyone. Don't idolize anyone either. Everybody has flaws, insecurities, problems, inner monologues criticizing themselves. For the most part, everyone wants to be loved, understood, accepted, you know, and when you take into account that these are basic human commonalities, people are just people. Certain people are easier to approach than other people. Like for me, I find it easier to approach women than men. Same goes for if you're really intimidated by people who have a lot of tattoos, or like really intimidated by really attractive people. You know, they're people too, with their own thoughts, feelings, and desires and self-criticisms in their head. And most of the time, if you're nice, people will be nice back. And if they don't be nice back, they are shitty, and you don't want to talk to them anyways. Is anyways a word, or is it just anyway? Anyways? Number 5, except for life and death matters, nothing is ever that serious. Deadlines at work, not that serious. Embarrass yourself in a social situation, not that serious. Think about the actual worst case scenario in each of these situations that you worry about. Most of the time, situations aren't going to play out in the worst case scenario way. I thought this was an important one just because I'm a constant worrywart and I overthink and overanalyze everything. So this is just a way to bring my mind some solace. It's really not that serious. Life is silly. But really, I do have a way of just like catastrophizing everything and just taking everything way too seriously. And life is too short for that. Number 6, take care of your health. And this 100% comes from the personal trainer side of me. You only have one body, so take care of it. Sleep, go to the gym, drink water, eat well, you know, wear sunscreen. Go outside and take care of your mental health. Don't abuse drugs and alcohol and waste your life partying away every single weekend. Start seeing time in the gym as an investment in yourself. I know it's really hard to prioritize it sometimes, especially with a really busy work schedule, and maybe if you have familial obligations, then that makes it even more difficult. I know it's easy for me to say prioritize the gym as a 25-year-old with no mortgage and no kids, but I feel like if I had a mortgage and if I had kids, I would still prioritize myself. Taking care of your health is not just for rich young people, okay? It's for everyone. Hey everyone, it's Editing Leanna here. I know, my appearances are quite rare, so today you have been blessed with a little treat. But I just realized I had a little more to say on this topic, and that is that America really normalizes hustle culture. So much to an extent that people are encouraged to make sacrifices, like stay up all night and skip meals and eat late lunches. And that sort of self-sacrifice, self-sabotage, let's be for real, is glorified and rewarded, and in some cases, expected. And frankly, it's disgusting. Recently, I learned the true importance of sleep. I mean, everyone kind of knows the importance of sleep, but exactly how important, I don't think everyone knows or understands. Because if they did, I feel like they wouldn't so readily sacrifice it when they had to wake up early for something or stay up really late for something. But think of it this way. It's literally the only chance your body gets in a 24-hour period to recover from all the shit and all the stress that you put it through throughout the day. And when you are cutting that short, you are not letting these processes do their thing. You are cutting them off. A while ago, I had an interview with a gym, and one of the job expectations was a 5:30 a.m. start a few days a month. And if you were asking me like a year ago, I would have been like, sure, why not? 5:30 is not that bad. I'm a morning person after all. It's only 2 times a month. I'll live. But the thing is, when you wake up at a different time than usual, even if it is just for one day, it really fucks you up for a few days. It's not just that day that you're fucking up. And it really messes with your recovery. And recently, sleep has become a non-negotiable for me. It's not compromisable. And that's not something that's normal in our society. You know, it's not normal to put yourself first. It's not normal to put your own health first. And that's very unfortunate, which is why everyone around us is just so damn tired all the time, you know. I told the guy I was apprehensive about the 5:30s, and you know what he said to me? He said, "Not a morning person, huh?" And I was like, no, I am. I'm just more of a 7:30 morning person. I just don't have an interest in interrupting my sleep schedule and sacrificing my health for a job that pays fucking $16 an hour. But, you know, the fact that I was judged for my choice to not want to wake up early just goes to show that you are expected to bust ass, and that is something that is normal in our society. And for what? A job? And it's literally no coincidence that other countries without the same culture and the same expectations around work life have better health stats, more longevity, less obesity, higher rates of life satisfaction. Just because something is normalized doesn't mean that it's good or right, because this is definitely not good or right. I definitely used to be there too. You know, I stayed up all night in college, and as a teenager, my friends would brag all the time about staying up all night to study for our AP classes, and they would talk about their eye bags all the time, and I wanted to fit in so bad that I also wanted to stay up all night and get eye bags so I could brag about it too. But now, I'm 25, and I actually have eye bags, and they're not flattering. I really neglected my health when I was younger, and I regret it. I really do. I wish I didn't try so hard. You know, I wish I didn't try so hard in high school, because what was it for? I don't know. I used to think that school and quote-unquote success and being the best was important, was the most important thing in my life. It was more important than happiness, than health, but nothing is important if you end up on a hospital bed or dead because you neglected yourself. Fight the system by putting you first in a world that wants you to put yourself last. Number 7, and this one actually took me a while to realize too, but people treat you better when you look better. I know it seems really, really shallow, which is why I kind of pushed it away for a really long time, because it's like, there's no fucking way. But, you know, pretty privilege is a thing, beauty standards are a thing. But the good news here, ladies and gentlemen, is that attractiveness is accessible. I've always believed that nobody is inherently ugly. There are just people who just care about their appearance, and there are people who just don't care about their appearance. Even if your natural features don't fit into societal beauty standards, there are things that you can do to maximize your attractiveness. Hygiene, hair, fitness. There are so many things. For men, it's like if you get a good haircut, if you smell good, if you go to the gym and take care of yourself, you're gonna be irresistible. You're gonna be fucking irresistible, as long as you don't have a shitty personality. And same goes for women, you know, like go to the gym, take care of yourself, wear jewelry, wear makeup, wear clothes that flatter your body. And listen, I'm not saying that everybody has to be attractive. Like, you don't owe anybody attractive. But the thing is, people treat you better when you're attractive. But for women in particular, if you care about your appearance and you're all done up all the time, people might assume that you're stupid. And I don't know why or how this happened. I don't know where it came from. But yeah, there is a very good chance that you might be seen as a dumb bimbo. And sometimes that might not even be a bad thing to be underestimated. Number 8, start even when you're not ready. You want to start a YouTube channel? Do it. You want to go to the gym? Do it. You want to start making art? Do it. There is literally no reason why you can't do something that you want to do right now. Unless there's just something unrealistic and or crazily unattainable. But for the most part, things that you want to pursue, things that you want to do, there are things that you can do right now. And in the specific example of starting to go to the gym, somebody might be holding themselves back because they're like, well, I don't have the right gym clothes, or I don't have anybody to go with, or I haven't found the right gym yet, or blah, blah, blah. There are probably 1,000 reasons why you can't do something, or you're not ready to do something, or you need to wait for something to go through first before you do something. But for the most part, they're excuses. If you really, really want something, you'll go for it. Number 9, don't waste your time on social media. I find that time just passes by much faster when I'm like doom scrolling, and that's not good. You don't want your life to just pass you by, and you don't want to be left wondering what happened to the last 5 hours. I recently deleted Instagram off my phone because I realized that I was spending several hours every day just looking at stupid people doing stupid things and saying stupid things, and I didn't really care for it. I only really re-download Instagram now when I have something to post, and then I'll just delete it right off my phone again, just because I know it's too addictive. But I was just really thinking to myself, like, what matters to me? What do I actually want to be spending my time on? You know, and it wasn't doom scrolling on Instagram. Every time that I would come out from a doom scrolling session, it would always be such a shitty feeling. And I realized that I wasn't really making time for things that actually mattered to me. Making art, hanging out with my friends, taking myself to the park and doing things for my mental health. Like, it wasn't, like, I wasn't resting. And I was just like turning off my brain and dissociating. If doom scrolling on Instagram is something that you want to do with your time, then by all means you are entitled to that. But for me, I did not want to do that. That's not how I wanted to spend my time. So I decided to make a change. And I find that without social media, there's suddenly a little bit more time in the day. Life is a little more fulfilling and intentional, and I would recommend it. Number 10, live like you'll die tomorrow. Be brave. And what I mean by this is not that it's the purge, not that everything you do has no consequences now and you can do illegal shit, but what I mean is that if you were to die tomorrow, which you totally could at any time, I constantly think about my own mortality, would you regret the way that you have spent your life? Would you? Ideally, the answer would be no. And if it's not no, then what would be different? What would you change? What would you take out of your life? You know, stuff like that. If you hate your job, for example, and you've just been kind of waiting for something else to come by, and you realize that you've been relatively complacent about it, then figure out a way to quit your job, find a new job, find something that's more fulfilling. Life is too short to do something that you hate. Number 11, regret is worse than failure. Failure is normal. Failures are part of life, but when you regret not going for something that you actually wanted, that's a feeling that you really can't reconcile. Number 12, no one is that busy. If you're trying to make friends and someone is just constantly busy or just leaving you on red for hours and hours and days, they don't want to be your friend. And frankly, you deserve better. It's okay and normal to have expectations and standards for friendships. Like, these aren't just things that you're allowed to have when it comes to romantic relationships. You're allowed to have standards about friends as well. And so if somebody is just not responding to your messages, is not an attentive friend, is not a good friend, then you are well within your right to not want to be friends with them anymore. Few close, genuine, real friends are better than a lot of fake friends. 4 quarters are better than 100 pennies. And on the topic of friendships, number 13 is that friendships should not be draining. Observe how you feel after hanging out with someone. Do you feel energized, or do you feel like, oh my god, I need a break because that was a lot? If it's the second one, that's not good news. Cut off toxic people. You don't owe them anything. Number 14, everything passes, bad and good. Be grateful. Number 15, the secret to happiness is doing something for your mind, body, and soul every single day. I find that when these aspects of me are not attended to, I feel the most miserable. And when they are attended to, I feel happy. Number 16, you only need to make yourself happy. Selfishness is okay. Sometimes we're so caught up with making other people happy and not having anybody be mad at us that we don't even think about what we want and what makes us happy. I mean, it's your life. Live it. Number 17, life is imperfect. People are imperfect. Forgive yourself easily. If you don't know how to, learn how to. People are too busy being kept up at night by their own embarrassing moments that they cannot remember anything that you did. Life is imperfect. Life is messy. People mess up, and that is okay. Sometimes I lay in bed at night thinking about something really embarrassing I did when I was like 5, but like realistically nobody is thinking about that except for me. Number 18, don't tell everyone everything. Just because some people will never understand you or your decisions. This is hard because it applies to the people who are closest to you in your life, but sometimes those are the same exact people who would never understand a decision that you're making with your life. There is a difference between secrecy and discretion. Secrecy is when you are hiding something that would directly impact somebody else, for example, an affair, in which case that is wrong to keep that a secret. And then there is discretion. Discretion is when you are keeping something about yourself to yourself, because you know that certain people would just give their unsolicited opinions and it would just make everything worse and it would not be a constructive conversation. And that's okay. Not everyone is going to understand everything that you do, and that doesn't make them a bad person, just different. Number 19, sometimes there's no right decision, only what feels good in the moment. I have definitely been in several situations in which I was just really paranoid about making the right decision, as if there was a right and wrong. But the reason that decisions are hard sometimes is because there is no right answer. And I think I definitely spent too much time trying to be a fortune teller, trying to see the future, trying to see which path would lead to the best outcome. But the thing is, sometimes there is no way of knowing. So all you can really rely on is pros and cons lists and just a feeling, a gut feeling. What is the best decision for me right now? And that is really hard sometimes, especially as somebody who is just so fucking concerned about the future all the time and worried about the future all the time. It's really hard to really sit down and ask yourself, what do I need right now? And the cool thing is, I've had to go through extensive therapy for this. My therapist basically pounded this into my brain. But you can always start over. Even if the path that you choose doesn't end up working out perfectly, you can always start over. Number 20. Your friends are a reflection of you. So just be careful who you keep in your circle. So where this comes in is their mannerisms, their hobbies, their values, they're all gonna rub off on you. No matter how resistant to change you think you may be. Obviously, you're not gonna be exact carbon copies of your friends. You're still your own individual person. But eventually you might realize that you picked up something along the way that you didn't even realize that you picked up. Number 21, try new things often. Sometimes we get stuck in our comfort zones, our familiarity circles, if you will, and it just really prevents us from growing. Personal growth never happens in the comfort zone, so take yourself out of it once in a while. You never know what you might experience, what kind of people you might meet. Number 22, invest your money. Learn about financial independence, learn about financial freedom. Do not get stuck in the rat race. I've said this a million times, but public education really failed us when it came to financial education, so please go educate yourself about your finances. You will thank me later. Number 23, some people are not meant to be in your life forever, and that's okay. Sometimes people are just here for a lesson or for a short and good time, and that's it. But it doesn't cheapen the fact that they were there and at some point they mattered to you. And that's something that I had to learn recently, just because I used to be so obsessed with the idea of lifelong relationships and lifelong friendships. And it really broke my heart when certain friendships and relationships had to end. But it doesn't mean that they were there for nothing. It doesn't mean that the time that you invested in that relationship was for nothing. You know, it just means that you grew apart. Sometimes you outgrow people. Number 24, don't be afraid to take your own path. The path that everyone else is on isn't the path that you have to be on. Growing up, I was fed this narrative that going to college and getting multiple degrees and working a 9-to-5 and buying a house and settling down and providing for your family and having a bunch of kids is what you're supposed to do, is the epitome of success, is the epitome of the American dream for immigrant families. But recently I am just starting to challenge that notion. I guess in the past several years I've challenged that. And it was difficult to break away from it at first. But I can tell that the path that I'm on now is fit for me. And you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. And as I've aged, my circle has grown, and I've seen people who aren't doing the 9-to-5 corporate, college degree, classic, traditional life path thing, and they're very successful. And so I think that is what gave me the courage to pursue an alternate path. And number 25 is, when you think everyone hates you, you need to sleep. And when you think you hate everyone, you need to eat. Eating and sleeping better can solve 90% of your problems. This one is so damn funny to me just because it's so simple, but it's true. And this goes back to taking care of your body and taking care of yourself. So that was life tip number 25. I am gonna go ahead and enjoy my 25th year on this earth. I am gonna enjoy my last year on my father's health insurance. I am going to enjoy being young enough to date Leonardo DiCaprio. And I am going to enjoy just being 25. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.